Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'd like to talk to you about same-sex marriage. Ask yourself a question. Are you for or against same-sex marriage? Myself, I'm all for it. I think it should be legal throughout the United States. Unfortunately, only 18 of 50 states in the United States is same-sex marriage is legal. Four others offer civil unions. Meanwhile, all of Canada allows same-sex marriage. Why are we following behind? Myself, I hear several different arguments of why same-sex marriage should not be legal, and yet I cannot find a reason that I think it shouldn't be. First off, people like to say that gay or lesbian couples make for bad parents, and they can't have kids on their own without a third party. Well, my oldest brother, when he got married, he and his wife both were sterile and could not have children. So right there shows that every day in America, people get married even when they're sterile. As long as you're a man and woman, you can get married. The American Academy of Pediatrics did a study, and it showed that children raised in gay or lesbian homes develop just the same as their peers do. Another study was shown that children raised in lesbian homes actually develop better than their peers. They have a higher grade point average, they have higher self-esteem, and they have less behavioral issues. The next thing that I hear all the time is homosexuality is unnatural. Well, I'll give you this. The Central Park Zoo has two chin-strap penguins, Roy and Silo. They've lived together for over 6 years now. The past 5 years, the zookeepers there have tried to introduce female companionship to them, only to have them refuse it and reject it every time at every opportunity. In the Jerusalem Zoo, two gay griffon vultures have been together for over 10 years, and they are now fathering a surrogate chick. Now, this not only happens in zoos. According to zoologist Peter Beckham, approximately 1,500 different species practice same-sex coupling in the wild. So it's not just animals, it's not just humans, it's nature. It's human nature. You cannot change human nature no matter how much you want, but you can change the laws. Last off, I'd like to point out that marriage is law defined as a man and a woman. But you can go out to Vegas and get married tomorrow, and 3 days later, 2 days later, even the next day, probably the same day, have that wedding annulled, as if it never happened. You can be married for 5 years and get a divorce. This is the only law that I know that you can break and not be punished for breaking it as many times as you want. Also, laws are changed in our country every day. Every day a law is changed for some reason, whether it's right or wrong. Who am I to say that two people can't get married just because they're the same sex? I don't think it's right. I think they should be allowed to be married, even if they are the same sex. If they're happy, let them be happy. It's none of my concerns. Last off, people say, well, in the Bible it says, our good fathers founded this country as a separation of church and state. And on this matter right here, I feel that this one basic principle that they founded this country of separation of church and state should be brought forth. Because if you want to be married in the church as a man and woman, hey, go right ahead. That's your choice. But if you want to be married just as man and be happy, I don't care if you do it in a church or if you do it at a temple. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. The churches do not have to allow people to get married there, and that's fine. I understand that. But our law needs to change so that two men or two women can be married and enjoy the same benefits and the same lifestyle as the opposite sex couples. But with all that being said, I will leave you with one final thought. The authors of the Declaration of Independence stated it perfectly. That is, all human beings are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Who am I or anyone else to deny two people the right to be married? I don't feel anyone is.